That is a yummy treat. We're in our kitchen with scientist Dan Kohler. He's the kitchen scientist.
Hi, Dan.
Hi, Dan. It's good. We're talking about peanut brittle and the science behind this wonderfully sugary treat. I didn't realize there would be science behind peanut brittle, but then when you say, I know where peanuts come from, but brittle, like,
Mark,
doesn't grow in a tree, it doesn't come from a cow.
When you're in the kitchen with me, you should know by now, there's science behind everything.
I know
you're
there
eating.
is.
Everything.
Well, what is brittle?
All right, so peanut brittle, really simply put, is nothing more than protein pellets and carbon dioxide trapped in reformatted sucrose crystals.
Exactly.
What?
And it's never sounded sexier.
Okay. All right. So, well, then how was peanut brittle discovered?
Does anybody here know Paul Bunyan? Know the story of
Yes.
Paul Bunyan? Paul Bunyan, oh, you're already eating it.
I'm going for it.
Dig in, guys, dig in. Paul Bunyan has a folklore cousin named Tony Beaver, and it is rumored that Tony Beaver once stopped a river from overflowing his town by pouring peanuts and molasses into the riverbed.
Oh.
As a reward, the town started making a confection that looked like that. So they cooked peanuts into molasses until it hardened, looked like a hardened river.
Is this true?
This is a folklore tale, but my
Oh.
favorite story about the origin of peanut brittle is that it's a mistake. And everything that good came up in the kitchen normally comes from a mistake. So we have a story of a cook in the South in the 1890s, and she wanted to make taffy. Now, when you make taffy, you do the same thing. You heat sugar until it boils, but you want it to remain pliable.
Okay.
In order to do that, you need to add a stabilizer. So she uses cream of tartar. Now, cream of tartar looks very much like baking soda. She made a mistake. She grabbed the wrong box. She poured baking soda into the boiling sugar. It bubbled up, almost overflowed. She tossed some peanuts in, poured it out onto a cold slab, and walked away. When she came back an hour later, she was rewarded with this beautiful, delicious mistake, peanut brittle.
Oh my God, that's
Wow,
brilliant.
that's called a happy accident.
Right? So, I mean, we should get started at making
Yeah, what's
some.
the ingredients for this?
I'm going to use some white sugar. I've already got some butter cooking in this pan.
Right there, you could stop and still win.
Mark, if you want a spoonful of hot butter and sugar, dig in. We've got white sugar. We've got some corn syrup. Now, the reason we're using both white sugar and corn syrup is they're different molecular structures. A little bit of water. We'll get into that. A little bit of water.
This is really a science lesson.
It really is. You didn't know you were coming to school.
No, I really did.
So sugar is sucrose and corn syrup is glucose. If you make a caramel with just sucrose, with just white sugar, that's called a dry caramel. So we're just putting sucrose in the pan. You cook it until it breaks down. The problem with a dry caramel is that it becomes it's very resistant to change. So if even a drop of water enters that dry caramel, it'll seize up right away and become a brick. So the reason we use glucose, the glucose tempers the sucrose. All of a sudden, we have time to let it bubble away, and it won't seize up on us. That's what I've got going over here.
Can I hire you to read me stories at night? You're fantastic.
Do you want stories or do you want science lessons?
You're awesome.
I know.
Great. I'm so into this.
So the other magical ingredient in peanut brittle, once we've cooked that sugar down, we're going to use baking soda. Like I said, this is nothing more than carbon dioxide trapped in sucrose crystals. So once the sugar comes up to boil, I'm going to add Na2CO3, which is baking soda. And the reaction that happens is the CO2 escapes from the bubbling sugar. And because sucrose crystals cool down very quickly when we take them off the heat, these resulting bubbles are going to get trapped as they're trying to escape. And that results in brittle. If we just cooked the sugar without the carbon dioxide and poured it out onto a pan, it would be very dense. There's no air in there, right? What we're doing is we're aerating the sugar so that when you take a bite, it breaks, and it breaks easily. Getting some bubbles over here. Therefore, brittle. The word brittle.
Wow.
That's something? I'm almost a scientist right here, huh?
Almost. You're almost a scientist.
Not quite.
But let's talk about what is actually happening. Like, how does caramel get its color, right?
Yeah.
Because normally we're looking at things that are just pretty plain. We've got white sugar and we've got corn syrup, which is clear.
Yeah.
So chemically, what's happening when you add heat to something, we're adding energy. Heat is just applied energy. So we take the molecular structure. We take sucrose, which are crystals, which means this is a molecule of sucrose, and white sugar is a grid of sucrose crystals. When you add heat, when we move from one state to another, we move from solid to liquid. The heat actually breaks the bonds between the molecules, so the molecules can start moving. And that's when sugar becomes liquid. Now, when you add more heat, the molecules themselves break apart. Then we have free atoms. Then they reform into new structures. That is color, and that is flavor. That's why sugar goes from solid to liquid and from liquid to caramel.
If you were my science teacher when I was a kid, I would have got an A instead of a B.
Yeah.
Well, here
You're
comes
awesome.
Yeah, but you
here
get
comes
to
the
eat
fun
all
part.
his
I know,
science
that's
projects.
this is great.
Here comes the fun part. We're going to add that baking soda right into the sugar.
It's just a little bit, isn't it? It's not as much as, I would think.
I'm just worried we're gonna have a pop quiz at the end.
I know.
You're eating the popcorn. But you can already see the bubbles. They're growing. Look, the pan is growing. It's going to overflow soon. You see that? That's a baking
At what point
soda.
do you do the evil sort of scientist laugh? Does that come in at any point? Right?
That's what I brought you guys in for.
Oh, okay.
See, there's all the carbon dioxide. Now, we want to pour it out before we lose all of that. Here we go.
So timing is critical. You wanna
Timing is
do
critical.
this.
Pour
And this is
right
when
out.
at this point is when the river was starting to jam up and overflow.
Look, this is the magic of
Right?
Tony. This is Tony Beaver's magic, right?
Right there.
And this is going to solidify in
It's
about an
starting
hour.
like what did you put? Did you put the nuts in there?
I did.
I didn't see that.
Well,
Where was
you
I?
missed it, Christina.
It was so
Did
fast.
you close your eyes?
Here, pick those out. We have to do it again.
I didn't see that. I missed
But
it.
it's really that easy. And after about an hour, you will be rewarded with this.
So beautiful. Can you break it? Yeah. Yeah. What?
That. Oh. How long does it cook like that? Did you say? In that
We're going to sit here for about an hour.
or it'll sit and cool like that.
Oh, yeah,
Can
and
you
don't-
burn this though?
You can. Sugar is
'Cause I
very
can. I
well.
will
Sugar
show
is
you.
very easy to burn.
Right. Nice.
But that's the magic of caramel. See, we're using the glucose so that we temper that burning. If we
Right.
just use sucrose, it's going to burn much quicker.
Right.
Glucose gives you time.
Wonderful. This is wonderful. The
fantastic.
only thing that's going to make this segment better is a bottle of wine. This bottle of Fabio's wine, which we're going to hand to Zach. But he's got to run it for this segment. Pardon my
Wait.
reach. That's
Fabio.
for you.
Fabio's
Viviani.
He's-
Fabio
he's a
Viviani.
Master
So-
Italian chef. He
I
grew
know
up-
him. I worked at one of his restaurants in New York.
No.
No way.
Domicile.
Oh,
Are you kidding?
what are the chances? 6 degrees.
He's like, no thanks, I don't want that wine.
No, I'm good.
Okay.
But real
April
quick, I
Fools.
want to show a picture that you brought or that you shared with us. This is, there it is.
Oh, that's my kid.
That's your, what,
Yeah, she loves having her
was-
picture taken.
Evidently not.
Well, I think I have. I gave you guys a better one.
do we
There's
have a
another
better one? There
There
she
it
is.
is.
She's perfect.
That is
She knows how to
amazing.
avoid the.
Yeah.
She knows how to avoid the paparazzi.
Yeah,
doesn't
she does. She does.
Oh my gosh.
She's a little camera shy.
a little.
Good luck with the show.
you.
Thank
Yes.
Thank you for coming by
Thanks
and
for
playing
having
for Plunk
me.
with
Thank
us.
you.
Please
eating
come
with
back and
us,
see us. Please.
drinking wine with us. For your very own Brittle recipe, by the way, head over to our Pinterest page. You can find it there, or you can go to Dan's website, which is Renegade Kitchen. You have to say it like that. Otherwise, it
When we
doesn't
come
work.
back, Kelly Sullivan Walden and his Feng Shui is our dream zone when we come back.